Take this, Justin. Take it. Actually, I thought he was a great guy, but since he crossed the personal line, he's not gonna have my respect. He's not gonna have my team's respect. All I'm gonna need is 2 minutes in the octagon with you. Then I'm gonna put you to sleep in front of your whole family, your country, in front of everyone.
Just focusing on how to be perfect is all I will focus on. You know, lots of praying, you know, for me and my opponent, for no chronic or injury or serious injury. I don't wish to hurt my opponent severely. I want to knock him out, but the human body is resilient. He'll come back from that.
Yeah.
Same for myself. Yeah, just trust in the process. I put myself through so much work, sacrificed so much. 3 times to go in there with any expectations. I'm expecting, I'm fighting someone that's so good at fighting. World-class fighter. His last 3 finishes are absolutely spectacular. And I have a huge challenge ahead of me. I'm 5-1 underdog. And of course, you know, the world's counting me out. And I thrive under pressure. I love pressure.
I didn't count you out at all. That's why I trained my ass off.
I love these situations. That's what I love. I love these situations. I love you knowing that you're gonna knock me out, because when it goes to the second round, it goes to the third round, you're gonna be like, oh, I talked all this shit.
Bro, there's never gonna be a second or third round. That's not gonna happen. Okay. You know, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna knock you out.
Look stupid when we get there. You're gonna look stupid when we get there.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, it's round 3.
Okay, I like that. Okay, boys. Hey. I like what we're doing. Now, this is why you guys are the main event, by the way. This is why you are.
We get to fight each other, so none of this matters. None of this matters. If we get to fight each other in a few days, so he can be as emotional as he wants. It really does not bother me one bit.
Justin, the only thing that I can tell you is that you're gonna feel something that you never felt. You never faced someone like me. Never,
I've been knocked out cold. I've fought over 30 times. There's nothing you can show me or make me feel that I haven't felt before.
Ilya, he's saying you've never felt the Gaethje effect.
That's true.
Ilya, that's what he...
It's just me and Mr. King over here. Trying to fuck each other up.
I love the fact that you're calling me king.
Oh yeah, you're a narcissist. I ain't calling you king.
That. I love it.
Kind of my fault, I think, because I said it, and then, you know, that's on me, Justin. That's fucking on me. I want to let you know.
I just want to pump up his ego because he's so full of shit.
This thing has already turned into an all-out war of words. And that's the crazy part, because not a single punch has been thrown yet. With the night of this White House spectacle creeping closer by the hour, Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje just refused to stop trading jabs through the microphone, cranking up the pressure on a clash that was already sitting near the top of everyone's must-watch list for the year. And confidence? There's an absolute flood of it. You won't catch either man flinching or hinting at the slightest doubt. Pile on top of that the parade of analysts, retired fighters and coaches, all firing off their own scattered all-over-the-map opinions. And you've got a matchup that somehow keeps getting tougher to call the more people weigh in.
Done any thought or preparation for the surroundings, for the area? This is obviously going to be a spectacle. It's going to be outrageous. You talked about being one of the biggest UFC events of all time. I think that's an accurate depiction of what it's going to be when it's all said and done. Whether people are like watching it or hate watching it, whatever the case, there's going to obviously be a lot of eyes on this, but it is going to be a different setup than what you're used to, Mr. King. I think you are.
It's going to be a little bit different, but I've been like in many situations. I don't care who is going to be in there. At the end of the day, it's going to be me, my opponent, and we both are going to fight in the same circumstances, so it is what it is.
For you, Ilya,
all I know, the Mr. King, all knows is that I'm going to put him to sleep in the first round.
All right, well, we'll watch Saturday, Paramount Plus. Oh, yeah. UFC.
Don't blink, because it's going to be very quick.
But all of a sudden, and that was only 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden, from the best I could tell, the genesis of this was Justin Gaethje saying that Ilia thinks he's a king. He does these interviews and he's this annoying little guy and he thinks he's a king, and then said, I would have left him too. And that's referencing what we believe to be a split up within Ilia's household. And I gotta just say that because this has actually never completely been confirmed, but it also hasn't been denied. And that time that Ilia had off, he did say it was personal reasons. And I'm telling you this because that's a pretty nasty line. That's a pretty nasty thing to say. And Ilia responded by telling him that.
All that simmering friction finally boiled over the moment these two were forced to share the same space and swap shots face to face for the very first time. Gaethje took aim at the popular notion that fighters have to genuinely hate each other to bring their A game. The way he framed it, feelings naturally run hot in the final stretch before any fight. And even harmless little jabs can land wrong and stir up real resentment. Topuria, though, wasn't sold on a word of it. Rather than wade into the emotional weeds, he planted his feet and showcased that same towering self-belief that's launched him into the conversation as one of the most electric young talents the sport has produced.
He's going to have to be a personal feeling leading into a fight. Will it always get ugly leading into a fight? Do you guys need that mentally to be able to fight at your best? Or what is your thoughts on the lead up to a fight in the relationship with the other fighter?
No, I think it definitely doesn't need to be personal. I mean, ultimately, we're going to try to hurt each other. And so I guess that is pretty personal. But that is the job that we do. I never said anything personal. But we're very vulnerable when it comes to fight week. We're very emotional. And so we take everything personal. And so no matter what I said or didn't say, we're going to take it personal. No matter what he says, I'm going to take personal. Because I have a chip on my shoulder, and this guy's
not gonna say anything personal from you. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I like this. Okay, I like what we're doing here.
I find the first difference here is that you are gonna try to hurt me, and I'm actually gonna hurt you.
And Topuria's swagger was nowhere near finished when the subject of fighting in the open air came up. With all the strange and unfamiliar conditions wrapped around this event, he let slip that his camp had drilled for it on purpose, logging actual training hours outdoors to grow comfortable in that setting. He did pause long enough to tip his cap to everything Gaethje has built, offering sincere admiration for the man's legacy in the cage, before swinging straight back to the message he'd been pounding home all week. The way the undefeated title holder frames it, what separates them has nothing to do with desire and everything to do with delivery. In his telling, Gaethje speaks in terms of what he's chasing, while Topuria fully intends to convert his forecasts into cold reality the instant the lights come on.
Let's talk about that. Most confident you have felt going into a fight. How have you been preparing for the outside conditions? Anything different this year or this fight, as you know you're going to hurt Justin Gaethje as opposed to think you're going to hurt Justin?
I'm always confident in my possibilities. I always know what I'm able to do inside the octagon. Of course, we are going to fight in different circumstances since the event is going to happen outside in a garden. And of course, we did a lot of work outside to get used to it. But as I always say, I respect Justin as an opponent. I think he's done great things in the sport. But there are big differences between me and him. As he said, he's going to try to do things and I'm going to do it. I'm going to deliver. I'm not going to try to do anything.
Gaethje, for his part, wasn't about to surrender an inch of territory. Hitting back at all the champion's chest thumping, he basically suggested that Topuria might be drinking a touch too much of his own confidence. Make no mistake, Gaethje carries plenty of belief himself, dead certain he can shut the whole night down with a single clean shot, yet he flatly dismissed every forecast circling the fight. There's logic behind that stance too. After a career spent trading leather with the elite of the elite, he understands that bouts rarely unfold the way the crowd imagines, and that tossing out bold guarantees is a genuinely risky business. Even so, he made room to praise Topuria, openly acknowledging how dazzling the champ's recent outings have looked. And sitting there as the betting underdog, Gaethje insisted the weight of expectation doesn't rattle him for a second.
Gaethje, you think he's a little bit more confident than you, Justin? It feels like that's what I'm hearing right there, Justin.
And believes everything he says. And he sits around and smells his own farts, and he thinks he's God. He's human, just like me. I'm going to show him when I touch his chin, he's going to go to sleep just like anybody would whenever I land my shots. He, again, I mean, I can sit around and say, and like I can predict the future, and I know I'm going to knock him out in the second round at 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the second round, but that's not how this sport works. I've done this too many times to go in there with any expectations. I'm I'm fighting someone that's so good at fighting, world-class fighter. His last 3 finishes are absolutely spectacular, and I have a huge challenge ahead of me. I'm 5-1 underdog, and of course, the world's counting me out, and I thrive under pressure.
Topuria also pulled back the curtain on how he reads Gaethje's approach, going so far as to brand him a fighter who thrives most when a contest descends into mess and disorder. But here's the kicker: none of that rattles Topuria one bit. The undefeated champion is rock-solid certain he can keep his hand on the wheel even through the wildest, most frantic stretches of the fight. And maybe even more telling than that, Topuria signaled he's barely thinking about whatever blueprint Gaethje hauls into the octagon. Instead of chatting about pivots or adjustments to his approach, he made a deliberate point of saying his whole mission is to stamp his own brand of fighting on the night from the very first second.
When you watch film on Justin, what do you kind of see from him, and what are kind of some of the holes you think in his game that you can kind of take advantage of?
He's a chaotic fighter. You know what I mean? He needs the chaos in a fight, but I bring calm in that chaos. And as I told you, like at the end of the day, I don't care what he's gonna bring in the fight, what's his strategy or whatever. Like I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do my thing, and you know I'm gonna tell you my strategy. My strategy is to go in and take your head off. This is all I'm gonna do.
Okay, and Mr. Gaethje.
So scary, man. So scary.
Okay, that sounded like you're a little scared there. I mean, it didn't sound condescending at all there. That sounded very genuine.
Of course.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. We're both gonna try to fucking knock each other's head out. That's what we do. That's what this fucking game is.
The volleys kept flying once the talk drifted toward game planning. Gaethje confessed that he hands most of the film breakdown over to his corner, leaning on them to craft a strategy tailored to what he does best. He also slipped in a forecast of his own, hinting that all of Topuria's bravado about keeping the fight upright might evaporate the moment the action genuinely erupts. That one drew an instant reply from the champion, who waved off any suggestion he'd be chasing takedowns and doubled down on his plan to handle the entire affair on the feet. But Gaethje volleyed right back with a pointed reminder for everyone tuning in, that this is mixed martial arts and not some clean striking exhibition, layering yet another wrinkle onto a feud that's already running plenty hot.
I mean, I have the best coach in the world. I rely on him to watch a lot of film and instill the game plan into our workouts. I learn by action. I don't need to talk about it, you know. So my coach has instilled the game plan, and we have a method to how I'm gonna to be effective in my striking. And I'm ready for him to shoot and try to take me down. He says it's going to be a stand-up battle, but after I hit him a few times...
Forget about it. I'm never gonna shoot for a takedown.
I just want to make him talk so that I can make him wrong.
Yeah, you will see. You will see. There are not going to be takedowns from my side, at least. Mate, you are going to try to shoot for a takedown.
I might take you down.
Hurt you.
It's called mixed martial arts. I'm not sure if you remember.
Yeah, just do it. I'm ready for everything. Whatever you want to do it.
From there, Topuria swatted aside every bit of chatter about the one-of-a-kind backdrop framing this fight, stating plainly that he's already operated under enormous pressure before and now stands ready for anything thrown his way, with zero room for intimidation or for getting swept up in the sheer scale of the moment. The champion left no daylight for doubt, insisting that no matter how blinding the spotlight becomes, everything in the end boils down to what happens inside the fence. Whether a lone spectator is watching or millions of pairs of eyes are glued to their screens, he claims it changes nothing for him, because the fight itself remains exactly what it is.
Done any thought or preparation for the surroundings, for the area? This is obviously going to be a spectacle. It's going to be outrageous. You talked about being one of the biggest UFC events of all time. I think that's an accurate depiction of what it's going to be when it's all said and done. Whether people are like watching it or hate watching it, whatever the case, there's going to obviously be a lot of eyes on this, but it is going to be a different setup than what you're used to, Mr. King. I think you are.
It's going to be a little bit different, but I've been like in many situations. I don't care who is going to be in there. At the end of the day, it's going to be me, my opponent, and we both are going to fight in the same circumstances. So it is what it is.
For you, Ilia.
All I know, the Mr. King, all knows is that I'm going to put him to sleep in the first round.
All right, well, we'll watch Saturday, Paramount Plus, UFC.
Don't blink.
As the argument over fight week intensity kept swelling, Michael Bisping waded in with a sharply defined take on precisely where the boundary ought to sit. Now Bisping is no enemy of trash talk. He views it as woven into the fabric of the sport, and has no issue with fighters poking at each other's abilities, their preparation, even their character. But to his mind, some subjects deserve to stay firmly out of bounds. He singled out family and departed loved ones as things that should never, under any circumstance, be hauled into fight promotion. As he sees it, the instant you breach those lines, you've twisted normal hype into something far more cutting, and he hinted that's exactly the kind of limit Gaethje had in mind to begin with. Then Chael Sonnen jumped into the mix and flagged one particular moment he believes truly lit the fuse between these two. According to Sonnen, the whole dynamic turned when Gaethje went after Topuria's entire king persona and started ridiculing him in interviews, branding him an irritating little guy. And he didn't leave it there. Sonnen claimed that a few of Gaethje's remarks also appeared to nod toward whispers about troubles in Topuria's personal life, tracing back to a window when he briefly walked away from competition. That stretch was only ever publicly chalked up to personal reasons and was never truly spelled out. Sonnen was upfront that none of it was ever actually verified, but he argued the suggestion by itself was enough to give the whole thing a personal sting. And in his read, that was the precise instant Topuria decided this rivalry had officially gone too far. With all the friction continuing to mount, Alexander Volkanovski stepped forward with a far more even-handed prediction on the lightweight title bout. Right out of the gate, he hammered home that you can never ever count out Justin Gaethje, pointing directly at his deep experience and his long run among the sport's best as proof of just how lethal the man remains. Even so, Volkanovski suggested the stylistic puzzle might tilt a hair toward Topuria, provided he can dictate the tempo and steer the exchanges. He also flagged that Gaethje's aggression cuts both ways, capable of either blowing the fight wide open and carving out openings, or steering him into costly errors, all hinging on how he decides to play it. When it all came down to a pick though, Volkanovski leaned toward Topuria hanging onto his belt in what he anticipates will be a fast-burning, explosive scrap. And as the calls grew louder and more brazen, Colby Covington rolled in with a sky-high level of certainty, planting his full backing behind Topuria to flat-out run through Gaethje. Covington isn't bracing for anything resembling a close fight. He's forecasting a thoroughly lopsided showing, the sort that leaves Gaethje badly exposed and remembered for all the wrong reasons. He said he's genuinely itching to see this one, even dredging up his own long-standing history with Gaethje, stretching all the way back to their college wrestling days, as part of where his viewpoint takes root. He even snuck in a little jab, teasing that once this fight wraps, he'd love to watch Gaethje march right back to the wrestling mats, really cementing his conviction that Topuria is going to stroll off with a clear-cut statement victory. So now I want to turn it over to you. Who do you genuinely believe walks away with this one? Is it Ilia Topuria or is it Justin Gaethje? Drop your pick in the comments and tell us exactly how you see this entire saga shaking out. And listen, if these breakdowns and all the fight coverage are doing it for you, do me a solid and smash that subscribe button for more updates, more analysis, and everything else unfolding across the world of MMA.